Those with knowledge of the situation say 50 Cent isn't backing down and is prepared to give prominent names connected to Diddy's alleged trafficking network. It would be hardly surprising, given the competition and history between the two parties, if 50 were not just working behind the scenes but would even be prepared to testify if called upon. Since 50 has documentation linking Diddy's network to well-known figures in the music, movie, fashion, and sports industries, what started off as internet mocking is now turning into genuine legal action. As you undoubtedly know, Diddy is under investigation in New York for allegedly trafficking and racketeering his company, which included Revolt, Carrick, Bad Boy Records, and those with court documents potentially exposing wire transactions. Pressure is growing on anyone else who may have heard about or participated in the infamous white parties who are currently under severe examination. Even though Diddy entered a not guilty plea, the probe is strengthening industry links, and people like Beyonce, Jay-Z, Usher, Mary J. Blige, and others may now view emails and contracts that demonstrate how money and influence traveled around Diddy's network differently. These days, mentorships and favors could be evidence. 50's legal activities could involve a lot of well-known people, and if he is summoned to testify, it could ruin the case. It's wire changes due to NSA leaks. The same parties where Jay-Z, Beyonce, Usher, Ashton Kutcher, and Mary J. Blige used to pop bottles may now be used as evidence. When that type of legal heat hits, fame won't be enough to escape the consequences. 50 Cent is currently producing a documentary series and continues to bash Diddy on social media, but he has not yet been formally designated as a cooperating witness or confirmed to testify. Now, let's face it, 50 is more than simply a like-seeking troll. He's calculating and strategic, and his recent behavior suggests that something is developing.
I feel like all these years, you've been the only one calling this out. I look like I've been the crazy guy for a long time.
One thing we do know about 50 is that he never shoots shots without a strategy, so don't be shocked if he is cited as a witness in court filings. Considering all of this smoke, many people are questioning why 50 would act in this manner and why he would be the one to become engaged. It's more profound than you might imagine. Presenting receipts in court would be the ultimate victory lap for 50 Cent, who has long been at odds with Diddy, his fiercest adversary. However, the animosity between the two has been growing for years. Rumor has it that 50 Cent may testify in Diddy's ongoing legal turmoil. In 2003, when 50 Cent and Diddy were the two biggest hip-hop powerhouses in the world, Diddy gave 50 Cent the award for Best Rap Video for In the Club. Although the dap was given, the mood was cordial, and the event seemed important. The enthusiasm was short-lived because later that year, at the wedding of Chris Lighty, a music executive Diddy and 50 were close to, there was a very awkward exchange that left 50 feeling very uncomfortable. 50 disclosed on The Breakfast Club years later that Diddy had spoken to him during the wedding. Then he said, "Yo, let me take you shopping," without purpose. 50 expressed his confusion and apprehension, saying that he believed it to be a mind trick, a joke, or something else entirely. And it didn't stop there. 50 also mentioned this on Drink Champs in 2020, saying that the whole wedding atmosphere was weird and that he was sitting with Diddy and Steve Stout when Diddy allegedly retracted his offer to go shopping and even added, "I'll pay for everything." 50 didn't agree with this, saying that it unnerved him, as if Diddy was trying to control him or something deeper.
This is possible. Okay. You're telling me we gotta kick in this shit, and he's like, "Yo, why don't we go shopping?"
50 released a song titled "Popping Them Things" a few months after the wedding, with a clever phrase that alluded to Diddy's well-known fight with CEO Steve Stout. A few years later, the conflict quietly reappeared, despite the fact that they were seen together at events in 2004 as if nothing was wrong. It's unclear if it was a misconstrued joke, awkward flirtation, or subtle shade, but it's obvious that 50 took something negative away from the experience. When 50 tried to sign Mace, who was formerly one of Diddy's biggest performers at Bad Boy Records, later in 2005, things became boorish. The fact that 50 featured Maze in the Window Shopper music video was more than just a reference to Diddy's shopping remarks. It was a direct allusion to them. However, 50 was now reversing the course of events, taking advantage of Maze's shopping to demonstrate his superiority. There are lyrics in Window Shopper that seem to be aimed directly at Diddy, talking about jealousy, fakeness, and people becoming furious. The subtext was strong. In an interview with Funk Flex in 2014, 50 claimed that Diddy was acting suckishly regarding the Mace agreement. He discussed how Diddy aimed to give the impression that everything was well, but then stalled on the money side to keep Mace from being released from his contract. Fans believe that when they saw 50 drive by, he might have been implying some of the things Diddy is currently charged with. But more and more evidence is showing that 50 was constructing a case before one existed. There are more levels to this beat, but the tension never fully went away. 50 Cent made a shocking announcement in August 2006 about a remix of Hip Hop, a popular song by Dead Press. In this remix, 50 states that G-Unit, not Diddy or Bad Boy, controlled hip-hop and accuses Diddy of knowing who killed Biggie but being too scared to act since he was on the road. 50 was not only slick with the bars, though. In the outro, he verbally slapped Diddy, teasing the white party and declaring that he would not be invited anymore. He didn't want to go in the first place and wasn't trying to hang out with Diddy's punks, so it didn't end there. 50 complained about a few important minor issues, claiming that Diddy had wasted his time and money, stopped him from signing Mace, and owed him $50,000 for travel charges. Next came the big stuff. In the year 2024, this diss song is once again becoming quite popular. Online users are making jokes about the FBI playing it over and over again during the unforgettable raids, but 50 didn't stop there. 50 claimed that he was informed about Diddy by someone and could have shared it, but he chose not to. A week ago, 50 might have been #1 if the ink had dried. Not to mention that famous scene at Madison Square Garden during the Screamfest tour, where 50 Cent, T.I. Diddy, Kanye, and Jay-Z all share the stage. When Forbes published their hip-hop Cash Kings list in August 2007, guess what? Diddy jumped 50 spots and came in second, third, and just behind Jay-Z. But the tension was evident. When 50 unexpectedly showed up, fans believed that 50 had just strutted onto the stage and flexed like, "I run NY," and now Kanye's performing Can't Tell Me Nothing while 50 and Diddy are running around the stage like two uncles at a barbecue doing too much. Jay's introduction was hilarious, saying things like, "Hey, you can get down. You can get down." Before Diddy spanks Jay-Z in front of the crowd, 50 really starts counting money on stage while dodging him. Diddy then approaches trying to pull a practical joke. Diddy puts his arm around 50 and yaw in the end, but 50 dismisses him in a subtle way. Even during the buddy-buddy times, there's always this undercurrent of pettiness and power struggles. Court dropping in 50 Cent during the first 2 days of Diddy's trial, we have already heard names. Initially, the ex-girlfriend of Cassie Diddy is testifying under her true identity without the use of aliases or fictitious identities. She is the one who basically initiated everything with the case she filed in 2023, which drew government attention to Diddy and opened the floodgates. The three individuals called Victim 2, Victim 3, and Victim, some of Diddy's former love partners, a business associate, a male sex worker, and even one of Cassie's close friends are among the numerous individuals who aren't particularly victims but are still anticipated to appear in court or have their names referenced. The reason for their testimonies is personal. Actually, this was happening behind the scenes, and this is where things become really hot. Approximately 190 names were included in the jury list created by combining the names of the celebrities: Kanye West and Michael B. Jordan, Mike Myers, and Kid Cudi. In fact, their names on that list do not ensure that they will show up in court. Rather, it suggests that they might be brought up or asked questions during the trial. In essence, Jennifer Lopez is one of the possible connections that the jury must be aware of. Although their status as witnesses has not been confirmed, Justin Bieber and Cassie are also being discussed in the media. There has been much discussion about their attempts to stay as far away from the incident as possible. Their names being mentioned in the same discourse as Diddy makes people wonder how they are all related to the situation he is in, even though they may not be directly implicated. First up, Cassie is at the core of this controversy. In her case, Diddy is accused of abuse and trafficking-related offenses. Additionally, she described a pattern of drug control, manipulation, and extravagant freak parties, effectively painting Diddy as a power-hungry person who exploits others, especially women, by abusing his wealth and recognition. The federal authorities started investigating Diddy's activities for years as a result of her lawsuit, not just with her but also with others. The second through fourth victims will now be examined. Despite not being identified, it is said that their testimonies resemble Cassie's and that they weren't single incidents. Rather, they suggest that a system was in place and Diddy possessed a whole system designed to place people in these cruel, poisonous, and sometimes violent circumstances. One of them was linked to the way of life Cassie detailed, where she was compelled to attend parties that were being observed and documented. They may therefore testify that there was a trend rather than Cassie's exaggeration. Cassie's friend, the male prostitute, the business associate, and the ex-lover are all possible suspects. Some may have assisted in setting them up, while others may have seen events. Cassie and the other victims' statements that the male prostitute might have been present at some of the events or situations where Diddy's conduct went too far may or may not be supported by this information. Let's move on to the celebrities. Although Kanye has not been publicly accused, his inclusion on the jury list raises concerns about his involvement in Diddy's private parties, especially those industry-type events that are invite-only and genuinely exclusive. The way that Kanye's name was dropped made everyone stop. Perhaps when witnesses start to describe who was there on some of these insane evenings, his name will be mentioned there. Kid Cudi and Michael B. Jordan will actually make an appearance. People are speculating whether Cody might be called in to express his opinion or possibly to remove himself from certain Hollywood circles because he has been outspoken about getting along with them. Having worked for decades and having had encounters with actors, directors, and creatives from all around the industry, Mike Myers was the first to confuse people on a project or went to a few troubled events, but that doesn't imply he's involved. The jury should be ready if his name is called, the court asks. Next up are Justin Bieber and Jennifer Lopez, who both clearly have a past dating history with Diddy. J-Lo is not facing any charges. Many are curious as to whether she saw anything fishy during that connection. According to media insiders, she has been about it all and is trying to put her name at risk by separating herself. Since Justin Bieber was known to hang out with Diddy when he was younger, the mere mention of his name generated a lot of speculation. Even though there are no official accusations that contradict this, many people have long speculated about their relationship. But the fact that his name is coming to light shows how deeply ingrained Diddy's ties are, especially with the financial success of up-and-coming performers. Many people in Diddy's immediate vicinity, such as artists and actors, may have been exposed to or caught a glimpse of what went on behind closed doors, so his world was more than just glitz and glamour. Their proximity may have attracted some of them in, while others may have been convinced to join the investigation. This case is a fit for another jury. One in Diddy's case, the jury selection and trial setting are already exposing significant consequences and a deal of scandal strategy. It's happening in Manhattan Federal Court, which is the first step before a spectacular clash that will take place in the courtroom. From a pool of 45 individuals, the goal is to choose 12 jurors and 6 alternates. Is not just any group, though. We are talking about individuals from a wide range of disciplines, including educators, scientists, actors, and media workers. This trial may or may not be decided by the jury, considering the kind of evidence and names being used. Diddy's defense team and the prosecution can thus choose to have some jurors removed if they so choose. Diddy's side gets 10 hits, the prosecution gets 6, and both get 3 more. Regarding the alternates, it indicates that both parties are trying very hard to decide who should be in that box. During the trial, 190 celebrities could be mentioned, and jurors are being asked if they know any of them. Everyone from Cassie to Justin Bieber to Kanye could be implicated as a result, so they must make sure the jury is clear of any personal connections or opinions that can sway their decision. They're also being asked how much media coverage they've gotten because, let's be honest, this case has been widely reported online, and it's to be ignorant of the trial itself. There are 5 for Diddy, serious accusations, but he has already pleaded not guilty and turned down a plea deal, showing that he is betting on a court win rather than a deal negotiated behind closed doors, including information about those freak-offs, purported hotel surveillance footage, and even objects that were seized when Diddy's residences were seized. The feds are collecting as much evidence as they can. They estimate that this trial will last many weeks, and opening remarks are set for May 12th. They are taking additional caution when choosing the jury because this is a high-profile case involving prominent celebrities. They need individuals who won't be swayed by the commotion on social media or blinded by fame. Finding a fully unbiased jury may prove to be one of the most difficult aspects of this case. In an attempt to portray a long-term setup rather than a single error, Rated is doing everything in its power. Furthermore, who can predict what else might be added to the mix if 50 Cent follows suit? One of the most discussed trials in hip-hop and celebrity history is this one. How do you believe this case will conclude, given the press circus, a courtroom strategy, a stacked witness list, and serious charges? Is it likely that 50 Cent will become engaged in the Diddy case? Share all your knowledge with us.